Hello everybody, and it seems we are online, hopefully. Please say us.
Everybody, and it seems we are online.
Can you hear us?
Hopefully, please say us.
Yeah, I can hear myself.
Can you hear us?
Yeah, me too. And
Of course, there's a delay.
Okay, somewhere it seems I have a
Yeah, I can hear
stream open
myself.
somewhere. Wow.
Yeah, me too.
Of course, there's a delay.
Probably
Okay,
somewhere here.
it seems I
Cycle
have.
code. And now it's okay. Super.
All right.
Okay. Yeah. Sorry for the worst beginning. And welcome. Hopefully now everything is okay with the sound. And it's actually our, I don't know, like one of the, it's 15th or something, educational stream. And today I'm here not alone. I'm very happy to present my guest today, and it's very like famous filmmaker. I say it like this, and Raghav Anil Kumar, and but most likely you know him as Shutter Authority. Welcome.
Thanks a lot, Roman. Really happy to be with you here on the stream today.
Raghav will help me to do this stream not that boring as I do it usually myself. And actually, you, our viewers, also can help us to have a wonderful show today because, like, you have chat. Please ask us questions, and we also have a Discord. How it's called, Discord server, and
Right.
you may ask questions in Discord as well. So please write us and Raghav will read your questions as soon as they appear, and I will try to answer them. Probably not at the moment when you ask them, but like somewhere around. Well, let's go to the business. Today is, so it's 9th educational stream about After Effects. It's pretty hardcore streams, like it's not like a marketing wow bow. It's like really about like how to use the tools. And my name is Roman Belov. I'm a founder at KeenTools and also a developer at KeenTools. So I like know quite a lot about our tools, and I will do my best to share my knowledge. But before we start, and it's a pretty important question, I wonder like how many of you actually tried GeoTracker for After Effects before? And first, I will be happy to ask this question to you, Raghav. Have you tried it?
Yeah. I tried it a few times, and I tried it with a few different objects. One is with a primitive, and one with a custom model. And
Cool.
it's probably the easiest and the fastest way to do geometry tracking today. In my experience, yeah, everything else, it just takes longer to get a similar result.
It's a really big pleasure to hear it. And yeah, folks, please write us in chat like plus or something if you tried GeoTracker before. It will help me to understand like, can I like be more focused on some complex stuff, or it's better start with like from the very beginning, from the basics and so on. And yeah, let's start. Today's agenda. First of all, we'll talk a little bit about like geometry tracking in general, because it's a pretty important question, what is geometry tracking and why actually we need it. Then I will explain a little bit why we created GeoTracker for After Effects. Then we go through the pipeline and discuss all the aspects, like how to get the model for tracking, like how important the like camera information, how to actually track, and how to export the results. Then we actually will discuss some integrations with different software. For instance, Element 3D, Cinema 4D, and probably like something else. And at the end, we will go through really like more or less real and hardcore shot. And I will share all like small tips and tricks and show everything in action. And the last part is regarding like future plans. We will discuss it like briefly, but again, it's mostly like a question to you. What are our future plans? So your feedback is very welcome. Please write us what you need in comments under the video. Okay, let's go. So what is geometry tracking? And to start with, I want to show some like reel of the show reel of our tools, because we are not a first year on tracking in tracking area. So please take a look. Quite a lot of geometry tracking like, relates to tracking faces, adding some stuff on top of it, like this. Or making some face replacement, or improving some particular parts of geometry. Of course, clean up and changing some like, stuff and so on. It's also a face replacement thing. Wonderful project by Null. It's actually a little bit different tool. It's more about like how to get the geometry, and not also for tracking, but for sculpting. It's about face builder plugin. We'll like briefly talk about it later. Also, it's really cool for enhancing objects, like adding something that should should follow some real object, but like some additional
Nice.
information.
That was awesome.
Yeah, thank you very much. It's actually like probably you've got the idea, folks. Yeah, what is geometry tracking? It's like when you track the geometry and then you like can improve it like somehow or like add something on top and so on and so on. The question is why geometry tracking? And it's like one of the questions like to you, Rakhov, do you use object tracking in your like on regular basis? And when you
Yeah,
use it?
yeah, especially for like props and things like that. Like instead of like I have 5 days to make a video, and I need to have a special weapon or some kind of a sci-fi object. I'm not going to be able to make a physical prop. So just make a small proxy object out of cardboard and then track it and put something else on it. I've used geometry tracking not too many times, but once every few months. And so far, I was doing it with different programs, and it was never like a very comfortable set workflow. So I'm really looking forward to like doing it entirely through GeoTracker from now on.
Well, it's actually interesting thing, like why geometry tracking is like could be more convenient than ordinary tracking. And what I mean by ordinary tracking is like some setup when you have no information about geometry of the tracked object, and you want to track it, but like as you have no information about it, first you track some interesting points on this object, and then you have some information about like movement of 2D points, and you can like simultaneously reconstruct geometry and movement of the object. But the problem is, it's something that could be done like only simultaneously, like what like mathematicians called bundle adjustment. Like you solve everything at once, like camera tracking. You solve everything together, and if something goes wrong, you have to check, tweak the parameters, and solve one more time, which is like pretty like iterative and tedious process. And sometimes you may face a problem like it doesn't work. And you probably, if you tracked something, you definitely faced this issue, like it just doesn't work and you don't know how to tweak the parameters to get the proper tracking. And geometry tracking, in contrast, has a really like big advantage. You already know the geometry. The good question how to get the geometry, but sometimes geometry is so simple. For example, I don't know, like glass or cap, or I don't know, like some boxes, screens, and so on, that it's very easy to get it. But there are also like other options, like you can do some photogrammetry, you can do some on-set scanning, and or you can download some proxy model from Sketchfab or any other market of the 3D models. So, and yeah, we decided to bring this approach. We decided to bring this approach for tracking to After Effects. In After Effects, there are like already lots of wonderful tracking solutions. Like first of all, camera tracker. The other like Mocha, which is integrated now in After Effects, but it's a like flat 2D or what planar two
Planar
and a
tracking.
half D planar tracking. And there are also like wonderful lockdown plugin, which gives you also 2D tracking of any like deformable mesh. But again,
Yeah.
it's like a 2D approach, like you just track points and build mesh based on it.
Yeah.
And GeoTracker in contrast, it's a 3D plugin for 3D tracker. And first, I'll also like show some like short video to briefly show what it can do. For example, here I tracked the head and added some hair and symbol for me. You can replace objects, as you said, with props and so on. You can add objects to already to some objects that are already in the shot. You can add textures. Or a light object. By the way, we probably will see this shot later. And of course, you can use it as like a particle emitter for 3D emitting particles.
Right.
Cool. Generally, that's it. and probably it's like high time to try everything in action.
Awesome. Yeah.
Um,
Let's try it.
yeah, so we have After Effects, and like uh, there is a good tradition. Like originally, GeoTracker was appeared when we were working on some feature film, because previously, before making some plugins, we were just artists. And I also, like, I was first artist in After Effects and in Foundry Nuke, and we were working on some feature film for kids. And in this feature film, there was like it's pretty strange film, to be honest. Like there was some strange creatures. Let me find them and create composition. Yeah, like this.
Okay.
Well, it's actually it's not a 3D render. Nope. It's just like real people, but they have these animatronic masks on their head.
Wow.
Some
Okay.
and they should act like some wooden toys of a girl. So it's a
Okay.
film about like wooden toys, and there were like 500 shots, and in every
Wow.
single shot we should like make it like a little bit more pretty, like wet eyes, probably add some expressions like to like because otherwise it's really hard to show to see film with like main actors like this. They have no like nothing, no expressions, no mimics, nothing. And the problem is that there was 500 shots, and we like should have had like lots of VFX on top of every character, and we were just 5 people, and we had a deadline in 3 months. And at
Wow.
that moment, we understood that we need a GeoTracker, and we tried everything that was available on market, and unfortunately, nothing like suit our needs. And we decided to like make everything in Nuke, and that's why we created a first prototype of GeoTracker in Nuke. But
Nice.
because I was a After Effects and I really love After Effects, I decided that it's like one of the features that should be in After Effects. And like, but After Effects is not a 3D software. Like, there
Yeah.
were like quasi 3D. The
Yeah.
cool thing that nowadays, when we finish the plugin, it becomes more 3D than ever before, like with native support for 3D objects. And
Yeah.
like there's a like really cool synergy between ability to add 3D layers and 3D objects and ability to track these objects in sequence.
Yeah.
But today, like we'll try very simple thing. Okay, so and that's why usually when we introduce any software, any tracking software, we always the first test is usually for foxes, and we like also joking uh, that we created a software that track foxes. So I've already installed GeoTracker. It's appeared here in Effects and Presets, and I'm open GeoTracker in KeenTools and put it here. And you may notice that like right after adding the effect, analysis process started. And the first like natural question, what's analysis? And of
Yeah.
course, we analyze some like motion vectors, like moving of all interesting points in the video. Like more or less the same like when you add like camera tracker or any like or warp stabilizer or something like this. They first start with analyzing, but we add like some additional information on top of it. And it's already analyzed. It was intentionally splitted, like, of course, we can analyze it on the fly, But the cool thing that after you analyzed it, like the whole process is very like simple and fast, because we try to minimize the time you spend in tool. Okay, the next thing is geometry. And for this, we need to load geometry. And here we have like two creatures, 1 and 2. Okay, the 2 is the left one. So, and voila, actually it's our geometry. And it looks like 3D object, but it's actually not a 3D object, it's just overlay. But it's not like, it's not rendered to the image, it's just like handle. Like for example, when you draw mask, you have handles like this, and you can drag them and so on, and they do not affect, like they do not present on the rendered image. Like if you stop selecting it, it's just like this.
Yeah.
Basically the same with GeoTracker. So if you deselect the plugin, you see nothing, so it's not rendered. If you select it, you can manipulate with this object. So, and how to manipulate it? It's a very like good thing. Like it's very easy. You can just take any point and drag it. And when you drag it, it actually like moves according to your drags. Like very intuitive. And voila, we placed a like first keyframe. I said keyframe because actually you see there's a keyframe parameter here, and like now I have a keyframe, but we actually have our own toolbar. And you see, like now we have a keyframe here, and like it's our first keyframe. If we like look a little bit, like we talk a little bit later about keyframes, but let's take a closer look and probably adjust a little bit appearance and opacity of the wireframe. And you may notice that if I try to do it precisely, I will fail. Like I can't do it. So, and like a natural question, why so? Do you have an idea?
Focal length, huh?
Yeah, it's because of focal length. It actually could be because of the wrong model. Like if you have a wrong model, you won't be able to place it.
To fit it.
But in that particular case, it's because of the camera focal length.
Right.
And in camera, currently we work with like the standard camera in After Effects, which is like it's not presented here, but we all know that it's like if I add
a new 3D layer.
A new 3D layer, okay. New, but actually new camera. This one is like default camera, like 50 millimeters and
full frame. 36 by 24, I think, right?
Yes, 36 by 24, right. So full frame, 50 millimeters, and it's like, if I edit, what happened? Selection. You see, now it's basically like the same. And if I go to camera options, and we'll try to tweak it, focus distance, it's in pixels, because everything in pixels. But well, it's it's an issue. When I try to tweak it here, it lost selection, and we can't see what's going on here. So the better way would be just say that here we use not the active camera, which is like topmost camera in the composition, but some custom camera. It's actually now has the same parameters, And here I can tweak them. You see how it changes when I change focal length. So, and let's try it, for example, like on this setting. And still, like, it seems too big. Probably 24. Yeah, now it's much better. Yeah, something like this, 24 probably. And it actually looks like some standard focal length of the lens. Now it's okay. The cool feature here that we have a small tick here, estimate focal length, estimated focal length. So let's put it back to 50. Oops, I changed something. 50. And you see, I can't make it. And if I tick estimate focal length, it will automatically determine focal length while I'm dragging pins. We call this red dots pins. Can you see it? And actually, it's like even more precise than we can do it, like trying to guess it. And it's basically the same, like 24. The cool thing is that, like, first of all, if you know the correct camera parameters, then please specify them. Like, you can create a camera in composition or specify them in this panel. But like, if you know right parameters, then the better tracking you get. Sometimes you don't know it, and in that case, you can use this estimate focal length feature, and it will help you in tracking. And now we are done with geometry and camera. And mask and smoothing I will cover a little bit later. And yeah, let's track.
Wow.
So you see it follows the object. Funny thing that our first version like could follow just 7 frames. It's 200 frames and it's still okay. Like, but you see in the very end we have a small issue here. Oops. Because I've moved the...
Uh-oh.
Yeah, I've moved, because I've moved the clip and it said,
Yeah.
like, hey, buddy, don't do it.
Right.
Okay, so, yeah, so more or less... To microphone? Why? I don't know. More or less, we tracked it.
That's a pretty solid track already.
Yeah, it's actually all depends on your task. For many tasks, it would be enough. But if we want to get like the ideal track, we can tweak it. And to do it, we can use keyframes. So as I said before, I've already set up like the first keyframe. I can, for example, set up like keyframe in the very end and click several pins, drag them, fix the position, and click refine button. And it will refine everything between these 2 keyframes. Actually, it tracks everything again, but like on a faster speed. And voila, now we have a very smooth, you see, like this last keyframe actually smoothly in our tracking. And voila, we are done. Cool. So what happened? So as I said, currently we manipulate just like some green handles. It doesn't affect anything. So a good question would be like, and what's next? So first of all, what's happened, actually we have some results. And results, it's actually position and rotation of this object in every frame. So we can go to Results tab and, for example, select them all and open. Okay, let's select them one by one and open Graph Editor. And here we are. It's actually a result of our tracking. And more or less, it's already like, wow, we have everything. We have position of the object in every frame. But the good question would be like, what to do next? I mean, like, how to use it. And for this, we have an export tab. Of course, you can link to every of these parameters, but I don't like linking in the After Effects manually. It's always like dragging something, then adjusting some parameters and so on. So that's why here we have some like export buttons. And the like simplest button is just export 3D null associated with this object. And we have several options here, like first of all, export 2D or 3D null. Sometimes you need the position of this object in 2D, but it's pretty rare case, so usually it's 3D. And also we have a option to link it with the original object and with GeoTracker. We will cover it a little bit later, but yeah, let's finally push it. Oh, and it said that, hey, you have changed camera parameters, but you don't have such camera in the sequence. Export camera as well, and yes, please export. Because like now, let's open it, yeah. So here's our 3D null, which is like
Is that is that at the origin of that 3D model, or is that like at the center of it? How is that position
actually
decided?
it's the origin of 3D model. So this
Okay.
model is like, it's actually 000 of the model.
Okay.
It's pretty hard to see it here because also this model a little bit shifted in Z direction.
Okay.
And let me check. One second. Okay, and but if I switch this camera off, like you see, we got
Yeah.
wrong tracking. That's why important to
Right.
export camera as well.
Yeah.
So let's switch it
Is the
from that.
camera moving in this shot? It is, right? A little bit?
Well, actually, it moves like a little bit, you see.
Yeah.
You can, and it's a like a good question, what to do in case when you
Yeah.
have a moving camera. You can track it
Yeah.
first with camera tracker.
Okay.
So, and then you will have an active camera in scene.
And use that camera.
And GeoTracker will use active camera in that case.
Okay, nice.
So
That way, the lighting and all that will match if you're doing it in 3D later on. Otherwise, it's like both the camera movement and the object movement are added together, and it sort of becomes a combined movement, right?
yeah. So well, basically GeoTracker tracks the like object
Yeah.
using the provided camera. So
Right.
if it's
Right.
animated, then it will track the object in like coordinates of this camera. If it's
Right.
static, it will treat it as static. Unfortunately,
Yeah.
we can't track both simultaneously, camera and object, because like,
Yeah.
they
Yeah.
could be anywhere.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so let's continue, because there are also one more export option. And you can export not just the whole track, but any point on top of the surface of the object. So for example, like, let's export this point. So I click export now. Now I have a selector and can like pick any point here. Like for example, like let's take this one. And voila, I've got a null which attached to this surface point, and it also oriented along the normal in this point, normal to the model
Yeah.
at this point.
Nice.
So it basically means that, for example, if I want to add some scratch, oh no, not this one. Scar PNG. Okay. Okay, let's take this one. Nope. This one. Okay, let's, for example, take this one. Probably it's not
PNG.
PNG, yeah. Like they always add this something.
Yeah, it's just fake
Fake
PNG.
PNG. How to download the PNG? Okay, now I can download it. What? Oh my. What? 4T.
Maybe you can just search
Super.
as a PNG there.
Books. I definitely need a mid-journey here. And like, where's our foxes? Yeah, save. So now I have this object, and my After Effects, okay, and I will edit here. Here it is. So now I can make it 3D. I can just parent it to our surface point, and I'm doing it holding Shift.
Yeah.
To actually. Nope. What? Something goes
Yeah.
wrong. I don't know what's. Because it's.
Okay. You not the track mat.
It's track mat. Okay, let's hide
Yeah.
it. It's not a track mat. Yeah, shift it to object surface point.
Surface.
And here we are.
Yeah.
And of course, we want to change scale a little bit. And voila. Now we have like this scar perfectly attached to our object.
That's so cool. Like it happened so quickly, and also like it's a solid track.
More or less. And the cool thing that after you get the track, you can like, of course, you can do it like in like tons of different other ways. You can track several points on top, make some corner pin, lot of different ways. Like,
Yeah.
but as soon as you get the solid track, you can actually export so many surface points
Yeah.
as you like. And everything will be like very like fast. So everything is pretty intuitive. You can do everything like easy
with the same track. Yeah.
with the same track.
Yeah.
Which is cool. Okay, so we discussed export. And yeah, there's also appearance tab. It's more or less straightforward, like changing opacity settings, thickness of the wireframe, lots of different other stuff. Important thing here probably could be backface culling, which sometimes matters, like whether you see or not faces that are oriented like
On
from camera.
right.
And more or less like this, yeah. Yeah, probably nothing to add to this. So, and license tab. Yeah, we have a free trial for half a month. But yeah, please consider to buy it if you like. Everything is very easy. So, more or less, we go through the general settings. Of course, oh yeah, one more thing. Like we also have a like toolbar here, and with like track forward, track backward, 1 frame forward, 1 frame backward, refine. Refine all is not obvious what is it, but actually if you have lots of keyframes and you want to refine all the stuff that was like the whole shot, then you may click refine all instead of refining every range between keyframes. And yeah, all other points like more or less straightforward, except toggle pins and clear pins. So sometimes, like let's say something goes wrong, but we'll see it further because something will definitely goes wrong in future. Okay, that's basically it with this example, and it was like ideal example. It's actually not that ideal as you may think. It's actually quite challenging for other software, but yeah, if you have any questions, would be awesome probably to discuss them now. Nicola asked that is geo animated or the track did that. Oh yeah, the track did it. Okay, let's continue. Let's take another example. And the next example will be with tracking of primitives. Let's save this one as foxes. So here we have this wonderful box. And we will track it and probably add something on top of it or something. We'll decide. Let's try. And I already added GeoTracker here to finish the analysis. You don't need to analyze it every time, just once. So this time, of course, like this model is pretty simple, and that's why I will try to use a primitive. And we have several primitives like plane, cube, sphere, cylinder, and head. And let's take a look at some of them. So this one is probably cube because it's a looks like
box after all.
Yeah, it's a box. So funny thing that actually we can see only like one face of it. So probably plane would be enough.
Yeah, and also it's
Squeezing.
yeah.
Yeah, it's actually like it's something that we can't track. I mean, like because GeoTracker currently is a tracker of rigid objects.
Rigid objects, yeah.
In Nuke, we have also ability to track skeletons, but this ability is not yet ported to After Effects. So if you need it, please write us in comments in this video, because currently we believe that probably there are not so many use cases for it. And yeah, so let's try to track it with cube. Or okay, let's track or plane. Okay, let's use plane, and it looks like square. It looks like square, so
Yeah.
we don't need now adjust any like settings because it's already a square.
Yeah.
100 pixels on 100 pixels. And this time I will do it a little bit more vivid. And yeah, we've done with the keyframe. And let's track it. Stop it. So what we have here is actually like here it's like almost invisible, and it's very hard to set up keyframe. Let's first set up keyframe in the last frame where we see all four corners, somewhere here. It's a little bit inaccurate because it's already have this curve.
Yeah.
But, and let's click refine. So after the refine, we can check, is it okay? And it seems more or less okay, but here we have quite a lot of motion blur. So probably we need one more keyframe in the middle or something. Like probably somewhere here. 1, 2, 3. It all looks like corner pin, but actually it's not. And click refine. And now when I click refine, it will recalculate 2 ranges to the right and to the left from the new keyframe. Now it's much better. And let's continue tracking. And to navigate between keyframes, we have this keyframe navigation system here. Up. And yeah, it's like can't track further. So probably like somewhere here, I will try to, because the cool thing about like GeoTracker, you may guess. Sometimes you understand like you almost see no visual points or something, but you may guess how it should look. And sometimes it's better to try, for example, track forward instead of refining. Yeah, here we, or vice versa, track backwards instead of refining. GeoTracker. And nope. It seems we here what I've just done, I just deleted all tracking between them. So now it's just interpolation.
Yeah.
So we can, for example, add one more keyframe here. And refine it. So to the left is okay, and to the right we have definitely problems. And I click again clear between, and now we have a solid interpolation here. And let's use this one frame forward, and also one frame, and again we can guess. Also, it seems we have a little bit wrong like focal lengths here as well.
Oh yeah, we didn't work on that, right?
Yeah, we didn't do it, but more or less it works. I mean, like clear between. Oh, clear between. Yep. And clear to the right. Last keyframe. Okay. And let's do it in opposite direction. Like this. In this direction should be like better, hopefully. Stop it here. Well, it's important to say there are not so many interesting points on a cardboard, on this box. And that's why it's like a little bit challenging to track it.
Yeah.
Especially given that most likely it's like footage from internet, like it's not really like it's quite compressed with
Right.
MP4 or something.
Yeah.
So something like this. I'll take this part. Okay, let's. Oops. And goes down. Okay. And voila, we've done it.
Nice.
So, didn't check that. Okay. So let's add something. I don't know, like pirate flag PNG. Which one of them is PNG?
I think you can put a filter there and in the top to only show PNGs.
Oh, probably, yeah. But okay, I've already can download it. This one. And box save. So I'm adding it here. This time I will export the object itself, and yeah, now I have a object track, and I will parent it the object, and yeah, let's move it a little bit. Oops, and scale it a little bit. Something like this. And I don't know, like columns, modes, some, I don't know, or
Multiply or
multiply, yeah. Something like this. Yeah.
very nice.
And we need to stop it somewhere here. Yeah. It was a little bit like more tricky. If you have any like issues, you always can fix it. That's the cool thing about geometry tracking. You can always like add more keyframes, and if you add them, cool, then it works. So you, in any case, like even like you will put a keyframe by the keyframe, like every single frame.
Yeah.
But you have still like instrument to tackle with any complex shot. This one wasn't really complex. I mean, like sometimes it could be like much worse. Okay, let's take a look at one more example. Let's a little bit talk about head tracking. So I also have a GeoTracker in the sequence, and this time I will take a look at primitive, which called head. All heads more or less the same. We have 2 eyes, 2 ears, 1 mouth, and so on. Unfortunately, they are not the same, or fortunately. I mean, like, sometimes we have some individual aspects, and like it's very hard to create a common head for everyone.
Yeah.
But, and it's actually a question how precise the model should be for tracking. And it all depends on your task. Sometimes the model could be like more or less general to get like the whole movement. Sometimes, for example, for like retouching stuff and so on, you need like precise model. And for this, we have a special plugin which is called Face Builder, but I'll like show it a little bit later. So yeah, let's try it with this model. More or less, it like looks okay, okayish. So, and yeah, let's track it. So in that case, it seems it like works almost from 1 keyframe. Sometimes we need to add, like let's a little bit make it more transparent. Yeah, you see. Is okay, and here it's not. So here we probably need to add 1 more keyframe, like this, like this, and click Refine button. And refine the right, and add probably 1 more keyframe. And refine. And voila, we are done. So, good question what to do next. Like, I mean, like, why we track this face. There are like, could be a lot of different options what to do. But first, like, okay, first let's discuss 2D exports, because I didn't show it, and it like pretty interesting also. Like you can, for example, export 2D surface point and export them, like, I don't know, for example, his eyes. Okay, now I have a 2D null which attached to his eyes. And yeah, again, I can use, like, for example, if I want to create some creative information which is bound to his face, I can like do it, like, for example, like text of song, and sound of technical lyrics, and let's take anything different. He sing something like this, and yeah, now I have it here, and I like again can just touch it here and touch its position somehow. And yeah, of course I can do it with ordinary tracker as well. Like, it all depends on the movement. So sometimes, for example, you like have such movement that it's very hard to track some particular point. But you can track
Yeah.
the object in whole. And like that's also an option that like where GeoTracker can be really helpful. We also have a tutorial about how to make relighting for this guy. We like have seen it a little bit, but you can also find it on our website or our YouTube channel, which you are looking right now. KeenTools, and there was like a tutorial some time ago, like about this.
Hi everyone, in this tutorial,
when we track the head first and then add some lighting on top and so on. It's pretty easy.
There's an interesting question by Mr. TV Cov. Would it be possible to unwrap the projection of the surface texture to adjust it as an image in AE? If not now, but in the future updates. I think.
Yeah, go ahead.
I think it's similar to how Lockdown works. I think that's what he's asking, right?
Yeah, kind of. So just to like basically stabilize the movement and it like consists of like several stages actually. Like you first need to unwrap it, then you need to change it, and then you need to wrap it back. And nothing of this currently available in After Effects. And because basically, well, in any other software, like for example, Nuke or Houdini or Blender or anything, you can do it like with instruments you already have out of the box. In After Effects, unfortunately, you can't. But given that After Effects introducing now 3D pipeline, probably they will have this feature in future. Or we will introduce this feature in future. And it's something that we are definitely considering right now because it really opens like lots of possibilities for retouching and changing textures and so on and so on. It's pretty important, yeah, because now we can only add something which is flat on top of the object or something like this. We can't change the texture.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go to the more complex example. I also wanted to show how to track screens. Let me briefly go through this, and then we go to like interesting thing. Okay, phone. Here's a phone, and we will try to track it. Well, it's iPhone, and as far as I understand, it's iPhone XR. So, and I've already Googled it, like it's important to know the dimensions. Because of course, given that we have focal length estimation feature, we can take even like, let me show you, like I can take a primitive plane, it's green. Green is not good color in this case. So let's change it to something more visible, like this. And see, I can take a like square, which is definitely not a phone, and try to push it like this, and then this. And of course, because of it's a square, it doesn't like look okay. Yeah. But you can always find such a camera for plane with such focal lengths.
Yeah.
That will actually like, oh, and you may say like, cool, everything is okay.
Yeah,
but it's not because it's really, really, really long focal lengths, like it's like 126. And through these focal lengths, this square will look like this.
Right.
And it's a wrong way, and it's like actually quite a common mistake with geotracking. In reality, we have something like 150 to 75, which is like could be used like 150, 75. Now it has the correct proportions, and but focal length even bigger now. Why so? Ah, okay, I know, because it's actually like long side.
Oh, okay.
So let's do it again, and for this we will use this wonderful center geo button. Now we have okay, and because it's width and height, okay, and yeah, let's drag it one more time, and yeah, you see it, like I already have 4 red dots, which now a little bit like tedious to drag them one by one, because like other dots like actually they don't help, they drag in opposite direction, and that's why we can click toggle pins, and now these pins are yellow, and you can activate them one by one. And now it looks like as if you have just one pin, something like this.
That's very useful.
Okay, so now let's try to fit it as accurate as we can. Actually, black one is also not really good because of the black border, and we may change to something like, I don't know. Nope. Red.
Yellow?
Yellow, yes. Yeah, something like this. Okay, and we'll try to follow.
So you're gonna guess the corner.
Guess what?
Yeah, because it's a rounded corner, you're gonna like extrapolate by guessing, right?
Yeah, right. We actually can guess it, like it's pretty hard to guess, to be honest, but more or less like this, I think, something like this.
Yeah.
What's a camera now? It's pretty, I'd say it's pretty,
a bit long.
A bit long, yeah, probably. It should be a little bit wider, like looking at the shot, it's definitely wider. But something like this, I think.
Yeah.
Okay, then let's track, and let's first take a look at the footage, and it's pretty like lots of different movements. So let's clear first, and then let's track. And you may notice that like it's not that stable, because mostly of the lots of features here and not that many features here. And then now one more feature which was introduced in the last release, this surface mask. We can actually like turn it on and draw a mask on top of our something strange is going on. I don't know why. I have some shift. Okay, now it looks better. There's some strange shift. I don't know why it's persisted. Probably we just found some bug. But more or less, you got the idea. It's very simple. Like you just cover polygons that you really don't want to be. There's some strange shift. I don't know why. Strange. Wait. So I left the border. I definitely want to leave this one. Oh gosh, it's pretty random. Ah, why? Let me close it and open again. I don't know what's going on. It's pretty strange. Where is the GeoTracker? Okay, now it's layer. No, it works strange. I don't know why. Okay, but more or less we've done what we wanted, except this thing. Yeah, now we have a mask, and let's turn it off. And yeah, look, now the tracking is much more stable because we covered fingers. And we can track it to the end. Yep. And probably introduce one keyframe here. Yeah, now I definitely see that the focal length is a little bit wrong, like too long. Too long. Probably it's better to guess focal length on this frame. Why not? So we'll take camera, estimate focal length, and do it like on this frame. Wait, what's going on? Oh, it's famous After Effects performance. Sometimes, like in some random moment, it could freeze. And yep, and now I just refine it. Okay, it could be better, but again, like sometimes probably we'll need some additional keyframes here, probably one or two. This one is like really bad. The problem with like tracking of such shot is that you actually don't like have a lot of features to track.
Yeah.
Because usually, like if you prepared for the shooting, of course you have some like crosses, green crosses here or something.
Yeah.
But here you have less, just a frame, and lots of reflections and nothing, and
Compression.
no other corners and so on.
Yeah.
So it could be challenging sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah, something like this. We can now like take any iPhone XR. Instagram. Okay. Okay, I'll take this one and just make a copy. and now it's somewhere on desktop or where, yeah, and put it here, make it 3D, take my iPhone, and export. Press export button, export null, and export camera as well. Cool. Now I can make this screenshot 3D, parent it to, okay, again track matte, parent it,
Yeah.
whoop, and probably change orientation, nope, z-axis, right, nope, which one of them? Oh, okay, we actually trying to change the wrong orientation. We need to change orientation of the
Of the yeah, not the track, yeah.
Not the track, yeah. And not this one, and this one, then this one. Yeah, and change scale.
I have a question. So when you export a null, one way was to do it with expressions, right? So that it is connected to GeoTracker. But you can also do it without, right?
With what?
Without expressions.
Yeah, you can export it like baked.
Baked,
And
okay.
yeah, if you like, there is a tick for it, it's called linked. Because in most of the cases you need, it's like handy if you can link the tracker and see the result.
If you make any changes, you can update it.
Yeah, it will automatically update. Yeah.
Okay.
And like we'll see it right now. Let's like try to look at the result.
Yeah.
Let's add some crop edges. Okay. Like crop it like this. And what else? Crop left, crop right, yes. How to switch off the 5. Nothing changed.
I've never used this effect.
Me either. I'm just experimenting.
Okay.
Isn't
it easier to just key it and put it behind it?
Yeah, good idea. But yeah, again, we need to crop it a little bit. Of course, we need to key it, but crop it as well. Like, because otherwise we will see this white lines here. Do you know other way how to crop the how to crop the composition? Like crop left. Okay, seems I know. Okay, I like this, and crop. Which one? Left.
Why do we need to crop it? I still don't understand.
Because if we put it, you're right. Yeah, we don't need to crop it, right? Yeah, sure. Let's delete it. We don't need to crop it, right? Then we need just to key on the original footage, right?
Yeah.
And for this we will use something like, say, K-Light. Okay. Intermediate result. Put it on behind. Yeah. So, and let's just adjust its scale and position. And position a little bit. Yeah, from a scale. Yep, something like this. And you see, like, we now clearly see where it's not like we expected. And here we can, like, there are several things what we can do now. We can open our tracking, and the cool thing, as everything is linked, first of all, we can, like, let's take a at the results. Let's take a look at the results, and most likely we see something like, yeah, they are pretty jittered.
Right. Yeah.
Because mostly, well, lots of, like, not so many points to track, and lots of noise and so on and so on. So in that case, we can use the smoothing parameters and just like adjust them a little bit. Like, for example, it's just iterative process. You never know like what they should be. Like, we can adjust them a little bit and click refine all, because smoothing affect tracking. It's not smoothing after the whole process. It actually, like, some rigidity, like some regularization on tracking. So like how easy to it can flow. You see now they like much smoother. And sometimes like it's not enough, and you need to, like, and here, for example, it's definitely a point where we'd like to add like one additional keyframe, most likely. Let's switch it off. Yeah, because currently we have just 3 keyframes, and yeah, let's take a look what's going on here. And now when we set up keyframe, actually we can try to look at the image, because everything is linked. You can actually now more pay attention on the result and try to get the result you need. For example, like this, which is like pretty handy. That's why it's cool that it's all integrated. So like we introduce keyframe, we clicked refine. Most likely we need to change other keyframes as well. Yeah, because we like didn't put them looking at the result. Yeah, for example, here definitely like it also should be like fix it a little bit. Something like this. But again, now we like have ability to see what's going on and tweak it like step by step. And probably this keyframe also should be like fix it. I don't know, like here, something like this. Okay, and refine. I will not to like make it like absolutely perfect.
already looking a lot better.
Yep. Okay. Yeah, at least in the beginning,
Yeah.
it now looks more or less okay. Okay, there was some issues with fingers,
Yeah.
but yeah. So if the motion is like bigger and faster, then you will definitely see the notice like more, the difference more. Okay, the last example for today, which probably the hardest one. Any questions? Because we actually like already like I showed every aspect of the interface, all the abilities. The only thing which is rest, just having a big example with lots of like with everything that we just learned. So here it is. It looks like this.
Wow.
And guess what? We will track this yellow car. And it's like, yeah, it's pretty challenging. I mean, like, it's rotating.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's almost invisible. Sometimes
Yeah.
it's occluded with some other car, and so on. So we'll track it and then try to play with it with Element 3D or Cinema 4D or probably some particle emitters and so on. Are you ready, folks? Okay, probably
Yeah.
tired a little bit, but well, I've tried more. Cool. So let's start. First of all, we need a model. What model of this car? Do you know what is it? What's the car it is?
Nissan or
The only thing which is definitely is a Nissan, and like definitely will not be able to find a absolutely accurate model because it's pretty worn.
yeah.
Okay, and but like if let's be like Sherlock Holmes and Dr. Watson. So there is 350. So we'll go to and write it 350 Nissan. I already did it. And like one of the first links is just like this. And it looks like this. I don't know what's meant 350. I'm not that good at cars, but it's definitely a model. Nissan 350Z Copa. And I will try to look its model online, and there are some models on Sketchfab, and I need downloadable model, and like probably this one. Oh, this one with spoiler, and this one also is like back spoiler. Let's take this one.
Yeah.
It looks, it's even has the same color. It has the same color, yeah. So let's download it to our folder, and it's in Blender, no problem. Blender is okay. We'll just export it to OBJ format. Okay.
So scale is not important here.
Absolutely not important. At the moment, it's not important. Actually, it's a really good question. What's the scale of the model?
Yeah.
But it all depends like what other scales in scene we have. For example, if we track the camera first, then we'll definitely get some scale. Unfortunately, it's quite challenging to track camera here with a standard tracker.
Yeah.
Like I've tried, and every time, like somewhere on this frame, it fails.
Yeah.
Like, and that's why to do it, we need definitely like more. Oh, and what a rolling shutter we have here.
Yeah.
We need more powerful software for tracking the camera in this shot. So that's
So
why
you can do it without it, right?
yeah, we can like track just a model
Yeah.
because it will gives us quite a lot of like even without the like scene around. But of course, if you track the camera first, you can then like track model through this camera. But in that case, you need a perfect scale and you need to adjust it somehow. And again,
Okay.
it's like I may just suggest you to go to Nuke or Blender, which is coming, and I'm happy to announce that we are working on Blender version as well. And in this software, it will be much easier than in After Effects. In After Effects, while we can do like amazing stuff even without it. So for now, we've already exported like OBJ version. Here it is. So let's now import it. And let's load 3D model, stream drift, OBJ. It said it's too small and it will be automatically scaled. Actually, it's indeed small, like because it's just like 2 meters long or something. But unfortunately, in OBJ file, we don't know meters or centimeters or pixels or something. And as everything in After Effects is pixels, we'll like treat it as pixels, and 2 pixels is definitely not enough. That's why we scale it. And we scaled it, and yeah, now we have the model, and well, it seems I've downloaded some other model, not the one I've used for tests. And yeah, it was scaled. It was scaled significantly. Like yeah, it was small. Okay, so let's now try to like guess the focal length of this shot, which is important. And
Yeah.
I'd say that like it's very important to take like a good frame for this. Like we can take, of course, we can take this one, but it like have no information about focal length.
Yeah.
Probably this one would be okay.
Yeah.
So
My guess is maybe 85 or something like that.
Probably.
Maybe
I don't
more.
know.
Yeah.
Maybe more. Yeah.
Yeah.
So let's try. So yeah, like as expected, the focal length should be adjusted because it like
yeah, it won't fit.
So
Yeah.
let's say custom and estimate focal length. And
it's pretty cool that you can just take a picture of a car and then estimate focal length.
Given that you have a quite a good and accurate model.
Yeah,
This model seems pretty okay. It's even better than the one I used for tests.
Nice.
Cool. And it's
wow,
like
200. Okay, wow.
So
okay.
Like yeah, it looks like pretty big.
Yeah.
Cool. What's next? We need to track it. But if like make let's make opacity a little bit lower. Well, first of all, we definitely see that the wheels are off.
Yeah.
Because they like, first of all, they are rotating, then they also rotating around like themselves, and like they definitely like much. The car itself is much lower because it's like most likely
with its self-weight.
Yeah, and probably it's because of kind of it's a sport car or something, and so on. So That's why I suggest to exclude the wheels from tracking at all. And let's one more time try surface mask, open brush. This time it works okay. I don't know what happened last time. And yeah, I'll just cover all the wheels with a brush.
Nice.
I will probably cover it from other side when we'll see it.
Yeah.
But yeah, for now it's not important. Cool. So I've covered it, and now let's try to track it. But we need to analyze footage first. I don't know why it's not analyzed. It should be. Probably we've changed something. Okay. While it's analyzing, probably we have some questions. Miguel is asking, is there a way to map the tracked 3D object and render it over the image? We are working on it right now, Miguel. We'll use our tracking results with Element 3D and see how it looks at Element 3D. So, and what else should we take into account in this particular shot? Like let's first try to track it. And 99. Okay, we are ready. It will be much more challenging than anything before. Let's turn off brush and try to track it.
Wow.
Okay. First of all, let's first use our brush to cover wheels from this side. Sometimes you are like covering some rotated stuff like this, like some moving parts, but often like you cover some reflections or refractions or something like this.
Yeah.
So it's, yep. And yeah, and we definitely need a keyframe here. So let's turn off brush and toggle pins and try to set up a keyframe. Sometimes you may feel that setting up keyframes is like a little bit challenging, but when you're used to it, it's like pretty simple. Something like this, and yeah, where's our keyframes? Yeah, click refine. More or less okay.
Yeah.
We'll probably fix something a little bit later, but yeah, generally it's more or less okay. And yeah, let's go backwards. Nope. So yeah, let's probably add keyframe in the last moment when we see it fully, like here. Something like this. Refine it. Seems our model is not exactly precise in this part. It feels like this, because it's a little bit bigger probably, but just a little. Okay, add one more keyframe. And now let's track it backwards. Up. Okay. And see, it like tracks it from the very beginning to the very end. Cool. This part is done. Now let's go with this part. Stop it. Definitely here we need a keyframe. Quite a lot of pins. Let's delete them and adjust. Actually, pins you need just to manipulate the object. Don't need to carry them anyhow through the sequence. Okay, refine. And it looks okay-ish.
Wow. Now it's almost gone.
Okay. And yeah, this thing looks challenging, right?
Yeah.
Okay, let's at least put keyframe somewhere here where we are more or less understand what's going on. The cool thing that I've already mentioned, that when using GeoTracker, often you may guess how it looks outside of the frame, and it really helps in such cases, like to set up keyframe precisely, even like have quite not enough information about it. Like, okay, let's here we have an issue. Toggle pins, like this pin is okay, this also, and probably this one more or less okay, but this should be like rotated somehow. Yeah. Yep. Refine it. Oop. I will delete this keyframe. Sometimes you need to delete keyframes.
Yeah.
And let's first like try to add keyframe here. And it's actually like a tricky moment. Like sometimes it's better to add keyframes somewhere like in future, like to add keyframes to a part like where you haven't already tracked, to get actually like tricky moment isolated with keyframes from both sides. Now I have a keyframe here. It looks okay, more or less, at least as I can do it. And yeah, now let's try to refine it. Okay, it seems it lost its. Whoa. What?
Oh, is it because it's interpolating and it did a full 360 flip?
Good question. Like let's take a look. Why? Okay, it's probably because it like. Okay, let's add keyframe here. And yeah, let's toggle pins. Very handy button. Okay, something like this. During the tests, I've like when I was preparing to the stream, I've tracked it absolutely perfectly here. Yeah, refining works. Yep, now we got this
Yeah.
part and even this part.
Wow.
Of course, there are like some small issues, like probably here. that we can easily fix. And refine. Yeah, of course there was like quite a big of movement of the kind this part. Like, but should we worry about it? I'm not sure. Like, because like we are actually concerning only about the visible part of the. We
Yeah.
can try to like fix it, but it's like only just for the sake of perfection. And yeah, let's refine. Yeah, no, it's okay. And yeah, let's continue. But now one more obstacle. Oops. And it like magically jumped from one car to another. Because here the object is almost covered with the other car. You see it tries to track it until it could, but like starting from here, it's almost covered with it. So
it's better to interpolate there.
There are like several options, yeah. So one of them is just like, let's set keyframe here, remove everything to the right. Then try to set up, okay, for example, keyframe here in the very end, clear pins, and click here. I don't know what to take, like here, and oh gosh, here, here, something like this. It's the last frame of our sequence, and we track backwards now. And like, well, when tracking backwards, we also had a problem, but we can like take this and set up keyframe here. And you suggested to interpolate it here, and yeah, let's try. Clear between. Oh my. It seems we have like, let's take a look what's going on here in these keyframes. And the results, yeah, you see there is a rotation -1, and so here we have -1, and here is 0, and here again -1. So probably we need just to set up -1 here, if we could. Okay.
Yeah.
And then interpolation thing should work. Nope. I wonder why. -1. Okay, one more thing. Like here we have +100, 170, and here we have like minus. So, and that's why I need to like say +1. Yeah. Yeah, like this. Nope. Yep. Yep. Yeah, now all good. Now interpolation works. The other possible option is actually cover this blue car with a 2D mask.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
because was the only thing that we haven't yet studied, like how to do it. And yeah, let's do it, because it's like pretty important, like life hack. But first, let's take a look for the whole sequence and like see whether there are any issues.
It's holding up really well.
Yeah, more or less it's already okay, like except this small glitch near
Yeah.
the blue car.
Yeah.
And I don't know how much time we have. Not really a lot. So probably let's better go further. And
Yeah.
we already
There's a
have
question, by the way.
Yeah.
Do you want to read it?
Sorry?
Do you want to read the question?
Yeah. We have a question. That's right.
Yeah.
Oh, can you read it? Because I don't
Yeah,
see
yeah,
it.
sure. Yeah. Does each red dot have its own keyframe position data, or does each adjustment set a keyframe for the main object? I wonder if the dots can fight against each other sometimes.
Yeah, so red dots, it's actually like just a manipulator for the main object. So in every keyframe, we like actually the only thing which matters is just position and rotation of the keyframe and of the object itself. So, and red dots, it's just a way to like manipulate it somehow. Like you can, for example, manipulate them directly here, like as I did just before. But the problem is that it's so tedious process to tweak rotation and position to get the proper position on footage. And that's why we have this like pins and red dots. So yeah, basically you can, for example, delete them all and you will still be able to track everything until you have a keyframes. Okay, we got the result.
So element, huh?
Sorry?
So we're gonna try element. Element 3D?
Yeah, let's try with
Okay.
element 3D. Hopefully
Okay.
it will work with this model.
Okay.
Because it's a little bit different model, not the one I've tracked. I went to this effect, like how I do loading model from internet. Okay, let's create a new layer for element. But before, let's export our tracking results. So export it to object track. And of course camera. Now we have it. Cool. Like now we create a new solid and call it element and add element plugin here. Cool. And now let's go to Sense tab. And here we need to import our model, which is this one. And where it is? Oh, it's very, very small. We forgot about it. It's really small.
Yeah.
Good question. How to? Is there some like button
to get closer? Z, I think. It's been a while since I used element.
Okay, like, okay, we can see it, but I'm actually on limit of the scroll.
Yeah.
I've forgotten a very important thing. Sorry. Like, let's delete it. And when I import it, I need to click alignment from model, because otherwise it put a pivot point in a center or in any other point, but we need it from model because we tracked it using this pivot point.
Right.
Okay. Now the alignment is correct. And we have our model with all the stuff. And basically that's it. We can close it for now. And now for group 1, we created null. And the only thing we need is just to parent this now to our tracking.
Wow.
And like, okay, it looks more or less okay, yeah? What's wrong?
You just need to scale the group null, that's all, right?
Yeah, there is like a very, very strange thing. In Element, we actually contacted them regarding it, that you would always need like to put 40% to scale. Like, and nobody could explain us what actually this 40% means. Like, why 40%? But yeah. So yeah, we've got our car now tracked. We can easily see what goes wrong. For example, like now we can easily see what's going like wrong here.
Yeah.
And cool thing that as everything is linked, we can go to GeoTracker. Let's yeah, was a long thing here. We can open KeenTools, toggle pins, move it a little bit, fix a keyframe, yeah, and click refine button. And now the element actually also refined. So let's, for instance, change a little bit like the color of our car, make it like more rich. So then we go to element, and here we are. We can, for example, like put our environment, materials, some gold, of course, gold materials here. It's for lights, nope. Here. Now we have a gold car, and but before doing it, let's duplicate it, just to have a, how to duplicate it, duplicate model. Okay, cool. I'll go switch it off for now. Yeah, so let's put it like now it's gold, and for all other stuff we'll use matte shadow and gold for first one. Yeah, now we have a model, just like just body changed its color.
Right.
Cool. Okay. Yeah.
Nice.
Of course, we need to add like the reason why I wanted to add 2D mask, because actually this 2D mask is very helpful when we work with yeah, here we need like definitely fix a keyframe, like where is our drift and export, not export, where is GeoTracker? Yeah, so let's switch this thing. Yeah, so we need to look at keyframes. So yeah, this keyframe that we just introduced was a little bit off. Yeah, now much better. I click refine and switch element layer back. Yeah, cool. So we have the original tires. Well, basically everything original.
Yeah.
except the body color.
Yeah.
And of course, we can like tweak it in many like different ways. We can add something on top of it or something. I will probably at the end will show one more thing. I will add one new layer here, solid, and let's call it, I don't know, fire, and add integration with Stardust without leaving After Effects. So in Stardust there are lots of different awesome presets like fire or smoke or something. So we can take, like, for example, fire 1, add it, and here what we have here, let's delete this preset, and here we can import model, and actually our model is from file, and take our model of Nissan, and now we have the model, and we will use this model as a particle emitter for fire. So as far as I remember, it works like this. Now we have it. But also we need to like add some like proper transformation. So I will add transform here, and we'll definitely have problems because of the scale of the model. And this transform, we can also like use our object track null for this transform. Cool. Now everything looks okay, except where is our fire? And let's take a look at our transformation object, like this object transform, and its parameters. So position is 3, like, okay, it's like 20,000, and in Stardust it has like some clipping parameters, which is 15,000. So we put something like 50,000, and still nothing. Well, why so? Good question. Like, it always like very challenging. I'm not sure whether I do like mean distance. No, it's okay. Probably scale of some of the objects, like scale of our fire, or scale of the model, or something that I definitely like. The problem is that, unfortunately, because we don't have a proper 3D layer, 3D environment, we can't find and understand what's going on, and that's why I hate this pipeline. So the model is here and looks like okay-ish. Turbulence transform. Transform is inherited, and let's try to like play with some parameters here of, for example, scale of with scale parameters. We can actually, because we have a like extraordinary scale here, like 70,000, and probably because of it, let me think. If you guys have some idea in comments, like how to deal with Stardust and to fix it, because it should be okay. Okay, turbulence force. I will add one more transform afterwards, or before, and try to kinetic it like this. And now with this transform, I'll try to guess what's going on. So, for example, to play with scale, particle scale. Okay, now I see them.
Yeah.
It's like how of the thing. Okay, they are like okay. Particle scales. Okay, if they are 10, for example. Because probably it's all because of the, like some scale issue. Just can't understand what's the issue. It looks all very strange. Oh, okay, let's see. I think I got it. So we had a very small model, and yeah, and tried to link it to the small model. Okay, let's do it a little bit differently. Now here we will normalize the model in model properties. Model properties. We normalize the size of the model. Normalize scale and flip y-axis. And now everything should be like better. I will delete transform and this one as well. Yeah. Okay, now I see it. How to change the scale of the model? Like model. Yep.
Size.
And okay, I got it. In emitter, we also should switch it to model. Now I understand what's going on. To object. Yeah. In every emitter, we need to change it to object. And here also to object. Okay. Now let's go to model and look at its size. And it seems that, yeah, like, because the model is very small, like, okay, yeah, now it looks like this model, yeah?
Yeah.
Sure. And now, finally, we can add a transform on top of it. And connect it here. And in transform layer, we can inherit motion from object track. And we lost it again because of the scale, because now we have really excessive scale for everything. Probably the simplest way gonna be like take the scale off here, like delete it here and adjust it like manually, the scale we need.
Yeah.
So
Nice.
and it looks almost okay, except yeah, it should be just bigger. should be just bigger scale, like this. Yeah, and speed of emitter should be like less, because now like probably here force, yeah, wind is like too fast, and yeah, here we also have speed here. Doesn't affect anything. Why so? Speed. Yeah, scaling issues are really tough.
Yeah, and especially since it's not like a proper 3D space, you can't go in and understand what's going
Every
on.
time I like play with Stardust, I get something like this, like some like issues on issues, and but at the end of the day, it like usually like possible to do it. Yeah, but I don't know why it's so. Yeah, something like this. Okay, at least
There's a
we now
question,
have.
what time the may I ask what time the stream is scheduled to end?
Yeah, we actually, it's probably the last thing which I wanted to show you, except the last wall. So first of all, like, let's open our KeenTools account. I want to show you like the latest video of the latest release. Many people often say like, hey, we know that it's always so cool on demos, but hard to use in reality. But you know how to use it in reality. We track quite a lot of today. So yeah, generally everything is pretty easy. Now we have this like wonderful brush feature to mask out features, like for example here hair, and yeah, it's also like integration with Element 3D, which is covered in our like tutorials. You can do like almost anything now with this head primitive, adding lots of different stuff.
Very nice.
And basically that's it for today. And like, oops, not this one. I want to like remember that we have a Discord server where you can ask your questions anytime, and some newsletter when we announce new streams. But the best way to like see all the streams, just hit the bell on YouTube account and subscribe to it, and you will be notified about any new streams. So finally, questions. It's questions time. If we have any questions, except like when it all gonna be ended, I'm happy to answer. And sorry, yeah, it looks like we almost 2 hours here, like more than 2 hours.
Yeah.
Any questions, folks? Rakhav?
Yeah. So I was just wondering, apart from one sec, guys, thanks for the stream. It was a pleasure to see all of you here. Same here. Yeah. Yeah, regarding exporting the tracking to Blender. Yeah, I was wondering if it would be possible to have a a better interface between GeoTracker and Blender, like some other way to send it, like how you do it to Cinema 4D.
Well, first of all, in Cinema 4D, it's like integrated feature in right in After Effects, because there is like a way to like a bridge between them, like Cineware plugin this and so on. But as for Blender, I think the best way to use it with Blender is just like wait a little for our Blender version of GeoTracker, because
Right.
it will be like it will has the same functionality. In some aspects it's even like better in terms of like, because it's like in 3D software, and it can easily, for example, like track camera based on geometry, which is like
Yeah.
not the case for After Effects now.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's more or less probably the easiest way. And we will definitely release it in like, I'm afraid to give some like precise estimates, but roughly in a summer of this year. And it's like, yeah, one of the things. Another like possibility could be using this. There is a plugin for After Effects which exports to Blender. Like, yeah, I've forgotten its name. Probably you know it, Rakav.
Yeah. A to blend.
Yeah, AE to Blender, yeah. And
Yeah.
also you can do it through Cinema 4D. So you can export to Cinema 4D and then export FBX from Cinema to Blender,
Yeah.
which will contain all the information like about camera, about object. Basically, yeah, like it's also an option. And important to say that we have like the your license work across all the hosts, like in Nuke, in Blender, in After Effects, everything with like same GeoTracker license. So like if you use it in After Effects, you can use it in Blender as well, and it will work. Yeah, hopefully I answered this question. Do you have in mind any applications for it? I mean, like
Yeah.
near future
For
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 GeoTracker?
GeoTracker?
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Lots. Um, I think until now, I used to think of concepts that did not do a lot of geometry tracking. But now I don't need to limit myself like that. And hopefully I get to use it more.
Thank you. I'm also like hope that today's stream was like useful for you as well, because I've
Yeah,
tried to
yeah,
show everything that I knew about the tool.
yeah, yeah.
Probably sometimes
It
it was
is.
too detailed, but
Yeah,
I like I wanted to like give the like proper explanation for everything.
yeah. The car example was really a good one.
Yeah, it's like it's a real example. I mean, like it's not a just like simple example which like cool
Yeah,
for tracking, but yeah, it's a really like example which could be like, because you know we are VFX artists, and like VFX artists like usually have to deal with I don't know, like with anything like
yeah,
and it's like for example nowadays like artificial intelligence stuff really rising, but
yeah.
like there are lots of stuff that like it can like deal with simple shots, but
Mhm.
complex shots are more or less uh,
The same as
ha-
before.
yeah, yeah. um, can the tracked 3D objects be exported to FBX or other 3D formats? So for now, you can export the like object itself without tracking. So for now, the only option you have is just to export it to Cinema 4D and then export to any other format. Actually, Cinema 4D Lite is enough for it, so you don't need a license for Cinema 4D. But also, like we are planning to add it in future as well. The main problem again with scale, because scale is always like different and it's very hard to like track it in a way it's usable in any other software. And we need to design this feature properly. Thanks for the stream. I guess most of the doubts are covered in the stream. Sorry, like I can't see it. Will there be one-time buy option for this plugin? Currently, we do not plan it. Mostly because it's definitely be like more expensive, and we introduced monthly subscription recently. So, and it basically means that when you need the tool, you can pay for it. When you don't need, you can not pay for it. And it's like actually much more affordable, because if it's going to be one-time option, it will be more expensive, and it's like it's going to be a bigger barrier. And sometimes, for example, you buy it, you think you will use it, but at next day you change the software, you change the job, and so on. So that's why, like, we believe that it's quite fair pricing at the moment. Not a question, but just want to say that the reprojection feature would be much appreciated. Thank you. It's noted, and we are like will really want to introduce it. It's quite challenging in terms of like quite a lot of should be done inside After Effects. I don't know how much dev effort may it need, but maybe if imagine 3D GeoGrid as a 2D mesh grid and all its points as similar mesh points in look down. I think it may be a similar unwarping process. Okay, I got it. Like, well, we actually like more or less know how to implement it. Like it's in general, it's quite natural pipeline. I mean, like every single 3D package has it, like unwrapping and wrapping it back, applying texture and so on. So I just want to be on the same page with general After Effects development in terms of 3D space and 3D objects in After Effects. And like if they will introduce it like in near future, then probably it's better to like integrate After Effects 3D objects closely to GeoTracker. Yeah, any more comments, questions, suggestions? They all are very welcome. I will wait probably 10 seconds because we have a small latency, but
yeah.
And well, yeah, it seems we don't have any more questions, and it basically means that our live stream for today is done. And thank you very much for everybody who watched it. It was pretty long, but hopefully it was helpful for you. And you like, please keep in mind that if you have any questions and any problems, we are always open to it. So just hit us, write us, drop us a line to email team@KeenTools.io, and we always will help in your particular case. Thank you very much for coming today, Rakhov. Thank you very much.
Thanks a lot for having me.
and hopefully it was useful and interesting for everybody. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
See you all around.
See you. Bye.
Bye.